Welcome to News Mongolia, where we bring you the latest stories and updates from across the nation and beyond. I'm Batserin Namshir. On the News Mongolia today, World Women's Forum commences in Ulaanbaatar on August 22nd. The Speaker of Parliament meets Slovenian President during state visit. The involvement of government workers during the war of Khalkha River. For the news, stay tuned. The World Women's Forum, hosted under the auspices of President Hurulsuh officially commenced today in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. Running from August 22nd to 23rd, 2024, the forum aims to foster constructive dialogue on women's empowerment, gender equality, climate change, and the effective implementation of sustainable development goals. The event has been meticulously organized in collaboration with partner countries and international organizations, including the United Nations, setting the stage for impactful discussions and collaborative actions.
The first day of the World Women's Forum began with the arrival of delegations and registration at the State Palace. Participants were welcomed by high-profile dignitaries, including the President of Mongolia, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and representatives from the United Nations and the Mongolian Women's Federation. This was followed by a cultural performance that highlighted Mongolian traditions. The opening session featured remarks from key speakers, including President Hurulsuh, Minister of Foreign Affairs Battsik, UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohamed, and the Mongolian Women's Federation President Ayungeril Patnasang. A plenary meeting followed where participants had the opportunity to engage in initial discussions on various topics.
Mongolia is organizing this World Women's Forum ahead of the Summit of the Future to be held next September in New York and amidst of the preparations towards the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and Program of Action and the 25th anniversary of the Security Council Resolution on Women, Peace and Security. I sincerely thank the co-organizers of the event, the United Nations and its system organizations, as well as all other organizations, their management and staff who provided sincere support to us. As women play an eminent role in peace, development and family well-being within any nation, the role and participation of women and women leaders are significant in maintaining the world peace and security, achieving the sustainable development goals, and building a just and human society. Although we have already passed the halfway point in implementing the Global Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 5, achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls has not yet been met. Despite certain achievements in gender equality in various countries around the world, international organizations warn that the implementation remains insufficient.
Following a group photo of heads of delegations, a luncheon was hosted by Minister Battsik Patmukh, providing a platform for informal discussions and networking. What do you think will be the significance of today's event, and what kind of outcome in promoting gender equality do you expect from this forum?
Well, it's fantastic that Mongolia is convening this forum. The world is facing some huge challenges at the moment, and issues like climate change are becoming particularly urgent. Women have a really important role to play in that. Women are agents of change. They are also victims of things like climate change. So I'm really hoping that this forum is going to provide an opportunity for us to exchange ideas, to support one another, and to find solutions to the world's biggest challenges. I think women really can find some good answers here.
From the Embassy of the UK, what kind of projects or programs do you implement in this direction?
So we've been doing quite a lot to work with media organisations to try and adjust the representation of women in the media. So when women are interviewed, let's say for a professional reason or for a political reason, Too often the focus is on what they look like or their personal lives, and so the British government has been doing quite a lot to try and keep the focus on women's professional ideas, their expertise, their policies, because these are the things that we should be engaging women on.
In the afternoon, the forum delved into thematic sessions. The first thematic session focused on women leaders accelerating environmental action, moderated by UN Women Goodwill Ambassador Cindy Bishop. This session featured a keynote address by Slovenia's President Nataša Pirc-Musar and panel discussion with prominent leaders in environmental advocacy. Simultaneously, the second thematic session addressed sustainable future, role of women in shaping food systems. This session included presentations and discussions on the impact of women on food systems and sustainable agriculture.
Yeah, first of all, I really want to congratulate the government of Mongolia for the leadership in promoting women to the leadership position. I represent the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations here in Mongolia, and we are genuinely committed to really recognizing women's contribution in food security. We are supporting one session on role of women in shaping food systems, and we genuinely believe that without without capitalizing on women's leadership potential, we cannot have sustainable future, we cannot have sustainable food system. So we're really expecting a big push to women leadership in food system transformation in Mongolia and around the world. And we are really honored and pleased to join this forum and support this agenda.
The third thematic session of the day explored women in the digital economy. This session included a keynote speech by Armida Salsia Alice Jahbana from UNESCAP and a panel discussion on the challenges and opportunities for women entrepreneurs in the digital space.
Actually, I'm representing International Trade Center, which is a joint agency of the United Nations and WTO. And from International Trade Center, we have a flagship initiatives. We call this She Trades Initiative. And She Trades Initiatives is all about removing the barriers to enhance the participation of women entrepreneurs in the international trade. For that, we actually work in two broad verticals. The first one is we work on establishing the ecosystem for the woman. So by establishing ecosystem, I mean like we do partnership with the government to have the right inclusive policy. We also do partnership with private sectors to have, because they are the buying side, so they're the buyers, so that they are also aware of the diversified suppliers and the necessities, how most they can engage them. We also work with different business support organizations, trade promotion organizations like chambers and associations, so that they are also kind of have a very important role to make a bridge between the entrepreneurs and the other stakeholders. So this is the one vertical that we work, and the second vertical is the woman-led businesses or the women entrepreneurs. So we work to enhance their capacities and skills. We try to make them ready for the international trade, and once they're ready and qualified for international trade, we connect them with the international buyers, also sometimes local buyers. And we take them to different trade fairs, internationally reputed trade fairs. We brought trade missions in the country, and we also take trade mission outside the country. So inbound and outbound, both we do.
A side event on involvement of local communities in reaching the Sustainable Development Agenda provided additional insights into community engagement in sustainability. The day concluded with the launch of the 17 Faces of Action photo exhibition and a reception hosted by President Khalkha River.
On August 20th, the Speaker of Parliament of Mongolia, Amur Baysaghln welcomed President Nataša Pirc-Musar of the Republic of Slovenia, who is on a state visit to Mongolia on the invitation of President Khalkha.
During their meeting, Speaker Amur Baysaghln highlighted the shared values of democracy, human rights, freedom, and the rule of law that align Mongolia and Slovenia, noting that these common principles are strengthening the bilateral relations between the two nations. He expressed satisfaction with the issuance of the Mongolia-Slovenia Joint Declaration, a key document that outlines the future direction and scope of cooperation between the countries. President Piers Musar extended her congratulations to Mongolia for its successful parliamentary elections held back in June 2024. She emphasized the crucial role of legislative bodies in enhancing and expanding the friendly relations between Mongolia and Slovenia. The president also praised Slovenia's achievements in female leadership, including the high-ranking roles held by women in Slovenia's government, such as the president, speaker of the National Assembly, and Minister of Foreign and European Affairs. She commended Mongolia for its active efforts to increase women's participation and promote gender equality both domestically as well as on the international stage.
MNB is broadcasting a special series for the 85th anniversary of the battle at Khalkha River and its history. This time, we prepared this episode regarding the involvement of government workers.
War requires not only the skill of fighting with weapons but also high psychological training. During the period of the war, political workers and commissars were responsible for providing psychological training to the revolutionary soldiers and encouraging them to understand what they were actually fighting for.
Political workers should always be at the forefront of the battlefield, because with their insight they inspired the soldiers to be courageous. The people who led the soldiers were the commissars, who were normally the members of the book publishing organization, the agitators, and the press bureau. They were on the front line with the soldiers behind them.
During the Khalkha River War, the party and political workers aimed to educate the soldiers to be brave, patriotic, and be ready to sacrifice their lives for their country. It is believed that in the psychology of war, mental strength can conquer 1,000 with physical strength, and this had an important effect on gaining the victory.
Nowadays, people misunderstand the political workers and the party members. Due to their decisions and straightforwardness in expressing what was wrong or right to their soldiers during the war, they handled their grudges, anger, and dissatisfaction.
The rank of commissar was created to get party and political officials to take leadership in the war. The names of many commissars who participated late in the war have remained in history. There were about 8,500 Mongolian soldiers who participated in the War of Khalkha River, and there were many cases of soldiers shooting their own hands or feet just to retreat to the base, or even better to get sent back home. Not to mention the political workers who raised the ideological and psychological strength of the soldiers on the battlefield and thereby secured the victory.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for Mongolia and the world major cities. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you on Friday with more news and updates. Goodbye.